What are some of the things that you hear from clients that surprise you the most?
Well, a lot of these things no longer surprise me because I've heard them so many times. But they surprise the advisors that I talk to. So one of the really interesting ones is that um, the investment management piece, if like unless if you're a financial advisory office, a financial planning office, and do a broad range of services for clients, the investment management part, talking about that at least, is not the most important thing to the clients. And because one of the big questions we ask in those meetings early on in an advisory board's life is, of all the things this advisor does for you, including how they do it, what's most valuable to you? And managing investments almost never makes the list.
Wow. you
You
know,
know,
in the world of advisors who manage that sleeve of money, who
right,
think that there's extraordinary value that they're providing.
right,
And as I talk about it, I said, it's more than that. It's the return on you. It's not ROI anymore. To me, it's ROI, the return on you. So I'm that's got to be like throwing water in some of these advisors' faces
exactly.
that we both work with. So how do advisors then get the best results from these boards that you're doing?
Well, just like you said, Leo, you start by listening deeply and listening with an open mind. I talk about going into it with a Zen mind, which means just let it wash over you. Don't feel like you need to react to anything. Just let it come and listen to what's going on. Just absorb it because you will find things about, what you are stressing in your services may not necessarily line up exactly right with what the clients find most valuable. And sometimes just listening to that and reorienting things can really be, you know, can really be uh, can really be a big one. One of the most useful things that I hear is that there's actually, you know Julie Littlechild, you've had her on your show. She does quantitative feedback, and so we know through her research that clients by and large are more than willing to refer. But what we find in advisory boards is that the clients of some firms are really reluctant to tell their friends about it because the firm has put up things like asset minimums and that kind of stuff. And what we hear in advice, so if a firm says, we work with people who have 1 million and above, we get the client advisory board together and we ask them about, when does this firm come up in conversation? And people say, I'm really kind of hesitant to recommend because I don't know if they qualify to be your client.
Right, right.
We don't want that to be an obstacle. I mean, they don't know what their friends have. Their friends might have $10 million. They don't know, but they're concerned that if they don't want to set their friend up to get rejected.
Yeah. And I've always said, Steve, building on that, the business is first, the meeting of the hearts, right? That's qualitative. Those are
Yeah,
more the emotional connection points. The quantitative, as you said, asset minimums, dollars, metrics, things like this, timing, sometimes can turn people off or provide some ambiguity, or just people aren't confident. They don't know where to direct. So what's that? What are some other qualitative indicators versus those quantitative that you run into?
well, it's much more. So just before I answer that, a better way, from my perspective, a better way to talk about what you do is not to talk about what you do or your admissions criteria. You want to try to stay away from that, but talk about the problems you solve.
Yeah.
You know, clients who face, people who face this challenge, I'm really good at helping them with that. That's going to help them a lot more identify who they should be referring. And it doesn't set up those roadblocks. Like, do they have enough money? You can have, when they come in to talk with you, you can decide. You should do that filtering, not the client. The client should be filtering for the right problem.